So money is a very important asset in our lives. It gives us shelters, it gives us food, it gives us entertainment, it gives us everything we need in order to live. But there's a lot of downsides of chasing money, and today, guys, I want to talk to you guys about my story of being a workaholic. So I got my first job at CC's Pizza, and I was not really into that type of work, like wasn't really into working that much or anything part-time, because when I was in school, I did struggle with a lot of grades and everything. And also my mom did not let me work at all while I was in high school. And at the time, I was like spoiled a little bit in that department. I thought, man, I don't know how people are able to manage school and work. But now I kind of understand it, how it'd be a lot more manageable in certain ways. You just got to have the drive. And when I worked at CC's Pizza, I remember the job sucking because looking back, I was working maybe 5 to 6 hour shifts. Like looking back, I was barely able having a good time working a fucking 5 hour shift, thinking that it was the longest shift in the world because my body was just simply not used to it. And then I remember not liking the job much because it did pay very low. It was like $7.65, and I was just shocked of how little my paycheck was after working for so much for 2 weeks. And apparently that job was shady because my mom will even looked at my paycheck and she was super shocked how bad it was when I cashed my check, that she gave me a little bit more extra money because she felt bad. But everything changed once I moved out because I was pursuing a YouTube channel while living with my parents, but I wanted more things to do with my life, so I figured in order for this momentum and passion to get stronger, I realized my time was limited when I moved out. So when I moved out, I decided to pursue it even harder through my YouTube passion and everything. And it took about 9 years to kind of get everything together of having an audience and able to grow a channel properly. But man, it did pay off, but at the same time, it turned me into a workaholic. And it wasn't just the YouTube channel either. I also have a buddy that is also a super workaholic, and he works really hard, about 70 hours a week all the time, and he was able to get to where he was able to get in his life already because he sacrificed his early 20s and even 19 to 23 just working a lot of overtime and everything, and it saved him about $30,000 before he got his job into the trades and everything. And I thought that was really inspirational and cool. So that's when I decided to do that with my warehouse job at Amazon because I was working peak season. I took advantage of it. Now, don't get me wrong, it was a nice paycheck, but I had no time for anything. Everything was aching, but I still wanted the paycheck and money because I saw that my checks were so good and I was saving a lot of money that I should fucking keep going, and I did. But I did completely wear myself out, and it was honestly the most tiring experience I've had, but at the same time, it was the most humbling and rewarding. But, most people don't have to work this hard for this type of paycheck all the time, but there are some people that do all the time. They get used to it. Unfortunately, my body's not built to be used to it in that way all the time. And the thing that kind of burnt me out the most was I was working so hard for a paycheck that I did not have time for any social life or friends that much. I was also neglecting my friends a lot just to fucking get a decent paycheck, and I was also neglecting the most important thing was my YouTube channel that I wanted to do, my fucking dreams. And I thought that was kind of ruining me and destroying me slowly, because I remember during this time I was not really uploading any videos hardly. It was like the longest drought I had when I was making videos on my other channel before I decided to go back to this one was about fucking 2 months, and I never would ever go that long without uploading a video. And that's when I knew that I was extremely tired and I was kind of wasting my time to the wrong thing in my life. And I do remember seeing that paycheck of $911 in 1 week, and I was super ecstatic. Wow, this was actually a lot of money to me because I really not used to having a shitload of money on my paychecks. I also don't spend a lot, so all of that was just going into savings, and I thought that shit was cool. And the crazy part was I didn't see how much taxes it took out, and my naive ass thought, oh, I'm just going to get a lot of it back during my tax returns. And I did find out the hard way that the more you work, the less you get back in tax returns, unfortunately, because I found this statement to be true, because last year I did a 4-month tax return at that same warehouse because I worked there for a year before it was 2024, and I actually got more with way less fucking income on that tax return bracket than I did with about 9 months of work and shit. Because holy fuck, it was kind of BS. Because I remember quitting around September of 2024 or something like that, because I started in September 2023, and I remember being fed up and everything, because what made me kind of have the straw that broke the camel's back was I was working so much that I got sick with a 102-degree fever, and I kind of told you all this story before. But that's when I realized that I was really neglecting my health to the point where it wasn't worth it in that department anymore. And to this day, it did affect a lot of things in my personal life after kind of having this experience. I've been having a harder time to relax. I'm always on the go, 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 always thinking about my passions, always thinking about like working so much. What can I do to get some money? And it also really made me feel really guilty and really shitty about myself that I was sitting down playing a video game, not making any money while doing it at the time, just to get, enjoy myself. And I found that shit to be weird and crazy because I remember spending a lot of years in my childhood playing games carelessly without any worry about making money or nothing. And I know it was just childhood, but at the same time, it was like, wow, man, something really has changed, and it was not in a good way at all. The good thing I can say about this whole situation is that this whole thing was not in a materialistic fashion. Like, I did not really want any materialistic things or anything, and I also did not spend my money like crazy either. So I am grateful that I did save all the money that I could, but at the same time, I do kind of regret the time I did not have with the YouTube channel that I lost back then, because at the end of the day, you shouldn't be chasing the money in the long run to neglect everything else in your life, including your friends and your hobbies, especially the passion. And the sad part is, dude, due to neglecting my health when I was working so much, when I had that 102-degree fever, they decided to almost try to fire me over this because I was not showing up to work. Because I actually tried to give them a doctor's note, but on Amazon, you have to apply everything through the app. It's really weird. You have to apply the job online, and once they give you that app where you have to navigate everything, you have to literally use that app to even quit your job or to even take time off, and you really don't have to talk to anyone hardly most of the time. There are some people you can talk to, but they just do the same shit that the app does. It's basically the most pointless thing. I do remember when they contacted me, it wasn't even like through like a phone call or nothing or an in-person interview. It was just like a fucking automated weird email from someone, and it wasn't even someone that I even knew that I was talking to. It was absolutely the most bizarre thing. And that's when I realized that a lot of these companies also just don't give a fuck, and I kind of knew that for a while, but that really goes to show was never fucking sacrifice everything for a company just to get a bang for the buck. And the worst part is, dude, you're not even getting that much in your paychecks when you look at how much fucking taxes they take out. It's really sad, but I will never forget that experience when I was working so damn hard, because there was times where I was working super hard while working a side job at the same time on the temp agencies, while working 10-hour days up to 17 hours a day on some days, that I remember walking like a zombie and feeling so sluggish that when I went to bed, it was like 4 p.m. I woke up at like 9 or like 10 a.m. on my day off the next morning. It was crazy. It was about 20 hours of sleep, because that's what made me realize how tired I really was. So I thought enough was enough, and I decided to quit with no backup plan at this warehouse. And I really don't regret it, because without me quitting, I would have never pursued this gaming channel the way I did or nothing, and things kind of turned out really well. But I had gig apps and everything to rely on to try to keep income and float, but those were slowing down during the winter, and it was lasting me a good while for about 2 to 3 months, and then after that it started slowing down. And I did not want to get down to lower like paycheck to paycheck type shit levels, and I almost did, but thankfully McDonald's came in clutch, because it's one of the easiest jobs that you can get on. And unfortunately, I should have done that sooner when I quit, just to have a rebound type job as a temporary job until I find something better. A stepping stone, obviously, because it feels like nowadays everyone that works at a job, it's a fucking stepping stone. During my time in my unemployment, I was still wanting to work of some kind in some way. Like, I remember looking for temp jobs, and I was booking a shitload of them at times when I could, or at least tried to. Unfortunately, it was slow, so it was about part-time hours, and it still was not enough. I was still trying to make YouTube videos on my other channel, trying to get that momentum going. And that's when I was getting stressed out, because I was doing all this fucking crazy work while being basically unemployed, doing gigs and stuff with deliveries, and being super burnt out. And I had a horrible time managing my time during this time with work, because there was times where I didn't feel like entirely working on the gig stuff because of my car, because I was stressed out about my car potentially breaking down. And it was just a lot to deal with, because that's what was my attempt of trying to work for myself in some way. And obviously it did not work out very well, but I did learn a lot from it. And before I did quit my job, I did see other YouTubers like Wylearn and Loaded Buggy. They were very small at the time, but they were making Call of Duty commentaries, and I was shocked at how great the views were getting and shit, because I thought like no one would want to watch a Call of Duty commentary anymore. But boy, was I fucking wrong. And I actually kind of like this modern age of classic Call of Duty commentaries, because now the content in the Call of Duty games are like dead now, that you can basically come up with anything now and keep the game alive. And it really does keep the fucking everything fresh now. Instead of talking about like, you know, video game updates about the Black Ops series or Modern Warfare 2, because those games may no longer have new content, but it will forever be timeless, that's for sure. But when funds were getting extremely low because everything was slowing down, I did get a job at Dollar Tree to try to keep things afloat. Unfortunately, they didn't give me any hours and the pay was shit, so I kind of ghosted them and went straight to McDonald's once they gave me the job, and I actually don't regret it one bit. It actually did kind of balance everything now because I was able to grow this channel. I was able to fucking, you know, actually get a decent paycheck without killing myself entirely, and I'm kind of grateful for it. And I'm able to balance everything a lot better. The moral of the story is that don't slave your time and money entirely just for a paycheck, because there's definitely easier ways and more ways to make more money. You just gotta really fucking want it. That's the hard part. You just cannot fucking give up one bit. You have to constantly keep trying new things in order to achieve your success. At least it's for my dreams, at least. But other people, you have to work even harder than what I did, dude. I still am working hard, but not as hard in terms of physical labor. I'm working smarter now and not harder. That's the goal, guys. Work smarter and not harder. This was a hard lesson. It's okay to work hard, but don't enslave yourself all the time. And, you know, and it's okay not to work overtime, because there's some stigmas and toxic platitudes about people not always taking overtime. Because you know what, man? We all have our own lives we have to live, and we got to be able to find a way to fucking balance everything out in a smart way without completely killing ourselves. Right now, I am not in a terrible position at all, and my situation was a million times better than it was in November, and I'm very grateful for it. I'm also very grateful for all the people I've met in my life. I'm also very grateful for the fans and everything that has grown this channel and helped me make a good extra income too while at it. And you all are very kind too for all the donations. And I do really like this channel to have a place to sit down, hang out, we'll talk about some relatable shit. I know I do talk about working a lot, but I just can't help it, man. It's a very passionate topic I am extremely passionate about. Now, unfortunately, my bills are extremely expensive. They're about $1,600 after everything because I live alone, and I did have roommates, but a lot of them were just bums. I don't trust anyone, to be honest, but I'm starting to get better. My sister actually is going to move in with me pretty soon because we have lived together before, and actually she will pay her share and we're fine. And it's kind of nice because at least I'll have a sibling that will live with me because her boyfriend and everything, they all broke up and shit. Long story short, whatever, but you know, I'm willing to be a big brother and help her out, you know, and actually it's a win-win because I'll be able to save a million times more money too. And it's actually pretty dope. Anyways, everybody, that's all I gotta say about my story about being a workaholic. And I do know that a lot of y'all could probably relate with this. What are your guys' thoughts about workaholic? Are you a workaholic yourself? Do you struggle with it? Let me know in the comments below. And I'm pretty sure there's some people out there that have done the same shit. And there's some jobs that'll make you do something like this, because there's a small minority of people that do enjoy working, which I don't have a problem with because I'm kind of that way too in some ways. Because I don't mind like learning new things and everything. And I do find out if you develop a lot of patience, even if it's at a job you hate, you can get through fucking any type of job for the most part. And you kind of give it time, you kind of get used to the environment and shit, I've noticed too. So I always give every job like a month or two before I decide to even call it quits. And most of the time, those jobs turn out to be up to like 5 to 6 months to a year. It just really depends on the reason why I quit and everything. But it was definitely mainly job burnout. Anyways, everybody, try to work smarter and not harder, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care of yourselves, guys.